What is up, guys? This is going to be the second part to our FPS series. In this one, we're going to be going over gravity, jumping, and running. And then in our next video is going to be over shooting and possibly health. And if you haven't seen the first episode yet, I highly recommend you go back and watch that before continuing on to this. So let's hop right into it. We need to set up an action button for jumping as well as our sprint on the action map. So let's go ahead and go into our action map. And you might notice that we also have another action map for our menu. I'm going to go ahead and put the pause menu video in the top right. And for our sprint, we're just going to have left shift, and it's going to be a pass through with a control type of button. And for our jump, it's just going to be a regular old button, and we're going to be just using space. Alright, so let's hop into our script. We're going to need to get a bool to tell if we're running or not, and then we're going to be making our sprint function at the bottom of our script. So let's go ahead and get a private bool is sprinting. Right, and then we'll go down to the bottom and create another method, and this is going to be private void, and then we're just going to be toggling our sprint. Go. So now inside of this, we're going to be checking to see if our movement on the y-axis is greater than or equal to 0.2, and if it is, we're going to be making that false and then returning. So, and then return. Then under that, we're going to be making is sprinting equal to is not sprinting. There we go. Now in our awake method, we need to be able to call this method. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that, go up to our awake, and right here, I'm going to go ahead and just, so we're going to have it, we have it as player controls, and then movement, and then sprinting. Plug our toggle sprint in there, and we're good. Now we need to go to our player settings model. Let's go ahead and go right here, and we're just going to be repeating what is above. I'm just going to take this actually there and change this to sprint speed, and change this to sprint strafe speed for this. Thinking since that's supposed to be the walking speed, let's just go 5 with that, and we'll go 4 with that. Now we can go ahead and save that, go back into our player movement. And down here where we're calculating our movement, instead of having it look like this, it's going to look like this. And so starting off here, we have a check to see if our movement is, our movement not y, sorry, is less than or equal to 0.2, and then if so, then we're going to make our sprinting false. Then below that, we're getting our vertical speed and horizontal speed for just our walking, and we're making that the base movement speed. So if we're not sprinting, it's just going to be the regular movement speed. So if we are sprinting, we're getting our relative sprint speeds. And then down below that, we're taking our new movement speed and equaling that to a vector 3. And then that's when we pass through our horizontal speed and then we're multiplying it by our movement.x multiplied by time.delta time 0, and then the exact same thing for the vertical. Then below that, we still have our new movement speed, transform direction, and then our character controller. Alright, we're going to go back into our game now. Now, if we just walk, we got our normal speed, but if we push shift, we're able to run now. That's good. So now that we're capable of running, let's go ahead and move on to the gravity and jumping. I'm going to be grabbing these variables right here. We're going to need some floats for our gravity amount, our max gravity amount, and our player downforce, as well as a jump height, jump fall off, and then a public vector 3 for jump force and a private vector 3 for the jump force velocity. All of the numbers for the gravity and jumping and everything, I highly suggest that you move around, because this is what I've found works best for me, and I know that for some of my friends, whenever they went in and did this, that they didn't quite get the same results. So move the numbers around to see what fits best for your game. So after this, we're just going to move down to our calculate movement. And in our calculate movement, we're going to have a couple of if statements. So first, we're going to be checking to see if our player downforce is greater than the max gravity amount that we have. And we're also going to be checking to see if the jump force only on the y-axis is less than 1.5. And if so, we're just going to be subtracting from our gravity amount and multiplying that by time.delta time. The next is we're going to be checking to see if our downforce is less than 0.25. Again, this is another number that I have tweaked to the best settings for my game. And then we're also going to be checking if the character controller is ground. And if so, we're just going to be making it to where that gravity amount that player downforce can't go any further than 0.25. Then we're going to be seeing if our jump force on the y-axis is greater than 1.4. And if so, we're just going to be making the downforce equals 0. Next, we need to make sure that we're applying that movement, so we're just going to be taking our new movement speed on the y-axis and adding it to our player downforce. So now this is just our gravity, so now we can move on to our jumping. So we're just going to go ahead and go up to our awake method, so just scroll up, go to our awake, and right here, we're just going to be doing player controls dot movement dot jump performed plus equals e, and basically just doing the exact same thing that we did with our sprint. Now we can go ahead and go down and create a jump method, and I also want to create a calculate jump method to smooth damp the forces. So right here we have our calculate jump method, which is doing the jump force equal to a vector 3 smooth damp with the jump force vector 3.0, the jump force velocity, and the jump force fall off. Then in our jump method, we're checking to see if our character controller isn't grounded, and if not, then we're returning. And then we're also going to be making our jump force equal to vector 3.up multiplied by our jump height. So now that we have all of this, we can go back up to our calculate movement right here, and right below our new movement speed.y that we just created, we're just going to throw in a new movement speed plus equals our jump force times time.delta time. Now we should be able to go back into Unity, move, run. You can see we're going down with the ground, and if we push space, we should be able to jump. Run, jump. Now that we can explore and everything, we should be able to export this, because this is the base for our player controller. And I recommend this if you want to put this controller into other games. So you just go into assets, and then you go to export package, let that load up, and you'll just be grabbing everything that you want within the package. So let's say you don't want the nature, you don't want the menu, you just want the player and all the data behind that, so that's all you'd be grabbing. And then you just hit export, and then you're able to import that into any other scene that you want. I'm not going to do that, not quite yet, because I still have some tuning to do. But if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button. And if you would like to see more and see the next videos that are going to be coming out, then I highly suggest you subscribe. And other than that, guys, I'll see you later.